Hello, everyone. Good morning or good afternoon based on where you're located in the region. And thank you so much for joining today's webcast around Sage Enterprise Intelligence hosted by Nectari. My name is Ali Ortiz, and I'm a Senior Partner Engagement Manager here at Sage. Just a few logistical items before we get started. The presentation will be around 45 minutes, so we will have time for questions at the end. So please be sure to enter those in the Q&A panel on your screen, and we'll make sure to go through those. The webcast will also be recorded, so we can distribute the recording and a PDF of the slides next week. With that said, I will go ahead and pass it over to Olivia and Jasdeep from Nectari to kick off the presentation.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ali, and thanks to everyone for joining us today. My name is Olivia, and I'm the Director of Business Development for the Sage Enterprise Intelligence Solution in North America. And Jasdeep, my colleague, is joining us. He is our pre-sales engineer, and we'll be getting into a bit of a product demonstration later on in today's session. In terms of the agenda and what we're going to be covering off in the next 45 minutes, we'll be talking about some of the data analysis and reporting challenges organizations like yourselves might be experiencing. We'll talk about why business intelligence is a necessity, give you a very quick overview as to who we are and what Sage Enterprise Intelligence is. Then we'll get to how to use BI to build successful plans within your businesses, a demo. We'll talk about pricing, and then last but not least, the Q&A. So as you can see, a lot to get through today. And let's kick things off with a poll question to make sure everybody's paying attention here already. So we'll let Ali go ahead and start the poll.
All right, perfect. So what challenges are you currently facing regarding data analysis and reporting? Select all that apply. So insufficient real-time data availability, difficulty accessing and analyzing data from multiple sources, lack of collaboration among teams or departments, dependency on IT specialists for data analysis, or time-consuming data analysis processes. So like I said, please select all that apply, and I will leave this open for a few more seconds. All right, I'm going to close it out in 3, 2, 1. Thank you for everyone who participated. And it seemed like our top answers, Olivia, were time-consuming data analysis processes, and then difficulty accessing and analyzing data from multiple sources.
Perfect. Not super surprised by those answers. So that's definitely one of the biggest challenges in terms of being able to bring all of your information together in one place for analysis in order to gain those insights. So we'll jump right into why business intelligence is a necessity, and we kind of covered off, some of the potential challenges that you might be having in your organization in that polling question. In terms of the way businesses operate today, and I'm sure you're familiar yourselves with this, it's oftentimes not just the ERP that you're using and inputting information into. Oftentimes there are third-party systems, legacy applications, whatever it may be. Business intelligence will allow you to essentially bring all of that information together, again, in a way that makes sense, so that you can then use that information to make decisions within your business. Data is very scattered, it's in silos. Oftentimes different departments are working individually, not really collaborating with one another in terms of sharing important information, important things that are happening within the organization. So BI, it's really a key factor when it comes to collaborating between teams and enabling key stakeholders to share that information with people inside and outside of the organization. There are many other reasons that BI has become a necessity, but at the end of the day, what we're talking about today is, the ability to make plans, and really essentially, if you don't have access to information from all areas of the business, and you're not able to use that information or visualize it in a way that makes sense, it's definitely very difficult to make plans for the future. And oftentimes that results in making those plans, but they're actually not based on anything substantial in terms of what's happened in the past and what's happening today. So jumping into Sage Enterprise Intelligence, giving you a very quick background as to who we are. We are, of course, a business intelligence solution that enables organizations to analyze and report on data. We've been an OEM solution with Sage for over 10 years. So Sage did rebrand our Nectari solution under the Sage name. We are available in many different countries. We're available for many different product lines as well. So those of you on the call who are Sage 100, I believe we have some 300 customers, X3 customers, potentially 500 customers on the call today. So available and seamlessly integrated with all of those solutions. And our solution has been developed by business intelligence and ERP experts with some of the gaps of the inherent ERP that they have when it comes to being able to provide users with easy access to their information and just basic reporting capabilities overall. Our mission, again, is really to empower businesses to get the answers their business needs, to make decisions and be proactive. We provide a multitude of different interfaces with SEI as well. We'll get into that when we talk about how you can use BI in 5 steps to make plans, but really our solution is intended to empower all users to get their hands on the information they need to make their own plans, essentially, and then collaborate as well on those plans. Oopsie. Now, let's get into how to use BI for planning. Like I said before, it's very difficult to make plans for the future when you don't have information in terms of what's happened in the past and what's happening today. So the first step is really to collect all of your data, which is something that a BI like Sage Enterprise Intelligence will enable you to do in a multitude of ways. So again, I mentioned your core ERP, you might be using some kind of third-party application like a CRM. You might have another company that's using a completely different ERP system altogether. How are you able to bring all that information together, which of course is crucial to gain enterprise-wide insight into what's happening across the board? That's what a BI solution will essentially enable you to do. With Sage Enterprise Intelligence, we deliver the ability to easily connect and pull in information from multiple different sources, regardless of where they are. So if they're cloud, on-prem, what have you, SEI will really allow you to bring in all of that data, gather it together, all of the different departments as well. We're not just talking about sales and finance, right? We're talking about all of the different areas. If you're, a type of organization that works on projects, has inventory, we're really aiming to bring all of that information again together so that you can use that information to your advantage. Step 2, data cleansing. After you've brought all of this information together, you want to make sure that that information is accurate. You want to avoid duplication. You want to make sure that if you're consolidating multiple systems together, they're synchronized and that you're not ending up with duplicate accounts should they be named differently in each system. That's what data cleansing is all about, and SEI does provide some data management tools such as data transformation to be able to really cleanse your data to make it more useful when it comes to the analysis and reporting side, which is step 3. So analyzing the data. You've brought all of your data together, you've cleansed your data so that it makes sense, and you're analyzing things that are correct. You're getting access to this information in real time. Now it's time to go and analyze to see exactly what you want to do planning going forward. So in terms of the analysis side, of course, you're going to have some KPIs that are set up within different views. So dashboards is a great example and a really effective way of seeing all that information that you've brought together, maybe different areas of the business in one type of visualization. Reports, we deliver out of the box with Sage Enterprise Intelligence, so you can really begin that analysis from day one, again, on the different areas of the business. And essentially, trends is something that's very important to look at when you talk about making plans for the future. Again, we talked about the ability to connect to multiple data sources, pulling in a legacy system. You want to be able to see the history so that you can analyze what's happened and when. Maybe on the sales side, there's a season that's busier. for you. You want to be able to plan your inventory accordingly so that you have enough to deliver on those orders. Really, essentially, that data that you're analyzing and that you're getting in real time is what's going to enable you to actually plan again for the future. Now, collaboration is another key factor when it comes to basically getting everybody in the organization on the same page. Not only that, but also sharing the information with external stakeholders as well. So data is oftentimes very scattered. Different departments are maybe accessing different reports. Using the standard ERP to be able to pull information as well, it's not as user-friendly as using a BI solution like SEI. So essentially through collaboration, you want to be able to share information, collaborate on plans, and basically all kind of come to a common ground as to what those future goals are going to be and what you're going to do to achieve them. So SEI does provide multiple collaboration tools, including a distribution scheduler and multiple different ways to share data. Not only that, it empowers any kind of user to go in and access the system, whether it be from a web interface, an Excel platform, whatever that user is most comfortable with, and gain insights into their information independently without having to rely on others. So they can actually be using the system and really kind of doing that analysis and planning on their own, and then of course sharing that information with others, again, getting everybody on the same page. Lastly, building the plan. So you have the data, you've done the analysis, you know what's happened in the past, what's happening now. Now it's time to go and actually plan essentially with the end goals in mind. So BI will allow you to do this in a multitude of different ways. Budgeting and forecasting is, of course, one of them that's important. And with SEI, we do deliver budgeting and forecasting capabilities in different areas. So being able to actually enter data into the system to create those types of budgets. Also, the ability to access the data in real time and be notified of important changes as they happen is critical when building, not only building, but executing on your plan. Because when you're advised of these changes in real time, you're able to be flexible and adapt to changing market conditions, changing conditions within the organization. Again, plans aren't always necessarily set in stone. There are things that can happen that are unexpected. And being able to gain that real-time insight and be advised of those changes as they happen is really critical to be able to successfully build and execute your plan. So I will pass it over to Jazz, who will get into the product demonstration, take you through some of the features and capabilities that we've just discussed, and then I'll be back with you a little later on in the presentation.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Olivia.
Yes.
Just want to make sure if you can see my screen.
All good.
All right, perfect. So thank you everyone again for joining us today. My name is Jasdeep and I'll now walk you through the product demo. And the first thing we'll be starting off with is to understand how are we able to connect to different sources of data using SEI. So as you can see on your screens, what I have opened here is the data sync, the data management module, where we are able to connect to multiple sources. So if I go into the connections, we have source connections as an option, where we have all these connectors which we can connect to. These are ranging from SQL Server to Azure to Google Analytics, Sheets, and even web APIs that we can easily connect to and bring in this data from even cloud sources such as the Salesforce CRM, for example. And once these sources are connected, and then they are also required to be connected to the destination connections. So we have the options to dump all the data into the destinations connections as well. And once those connections are set up, then we have extractions in place, such as consolidating the data between different companies and putting them all together in one place. So this would be true for many of you who are using Sage 100, Sage 300, where you want to consolidate multiple companies together and bring all of the data in one place. And then SEI uses that data from the data warehouse to report on that and give you the reports and dashboards that you need for your analysis. Or you could also simply synchronize the data from one data source to another. And for those of you who ever want to migrate to other sources of data, from one ERP to another, for example, we also have the migration templates in place, which can facilitate the process of migration for you. So that's how we connect to different sources of data. And after this process is done, then SCI also offers further in its web application. This is the first platform that we are looking at now for the data analysis and reporting. This is where SCI provides out-of-the-box templates for Sage 100 and Sage 300 and also Sage X3. So we cover many Sage product lines when it comes to offering the out-of-the-box reports for that. Here we are having a look at the Sage 100, for example. So when I expand this folder right here, we see all the different modules like sales, AP, AR, general ledger, inventory management, and all the operational side of it as well. So if I further expand these folders, for example, we can see all out-of-the-box reports which are delivered on the financial side, sales, AP, AR, and they all come with their own sets of reports and visualizations which are readily available for us to use from the day one. On the Sage 300 side, we have also the templates for Sage 300 ERP, which are ranging from, again, multiple modules such as finance, sales, purchasing, project and job costing, and further, some of the add-ons to Sage 300 as well, such as Service Manager and AutoSimply. We have recently integrated SCI with those solutions as well, where we have providing out-of-the-box reports for each one of those modules as well. Now let's go back and have a look at some of the reports which are offered out of the box. So let's go into the first report, for example, let's say sales analysis. And I will quickly explain how these reports look like and how they work and what exactly is the principle behind working on these reports, how easy it is to do the analysis on these reports, for example. And here, this is an example of a consolidated report within SCI where we have three different companies, and my company code here is in the pivots. So if I just bring it back to my groups, we will be able to see the three companies listed here, which are all consolidated, and we can see them all in the same report. Now, how we are able to analyze the data, drag and drop fields, and drill down to different levels of details, that is something which is really managed by what we place in these three shells here on the top, which is the groups, pivots, and columns, where all the different fields are placed and can be easily swapped around. So just to give you an example, in the groups, we have a few fields here, such as company code, invoice year, invoice month, followed by customer and invoice number. So if I drill down on one of the companies, let's say ABX, then we are able to see the next level of detail, which is the invoice year. Further drilling down on that, which we will be seeing is the invoice month, and then comes the list of all the different customers to who we sold. Further drilling down on that, we can also see the invoice number and all those details in these reports too. On the other side of the report, here on the right-hand side, we have this toolbar, and one of the tools here is the dimensions and measures, where we can easily bring any of the other dimensions and measures of our choice. So if I want to bring in my product information as well, item code, I can simply grab that field and drag and drop that into my groups. And as I kept that as a first field, so my report reloads to show me all the item codes here in the report now. Similarly, we also have the measure side, which covers the different KPIs, such as the amounts, the profit, quantity, so on and so forth, which again can be easily dragged and dropped into the report, and then we can continue the analysis on these reports. Let's have a look at another report on the Sage 300 side, and this time we can go into something more on the financial side. So we can open a detailed transaction report, where we will have, again, the data grouped by the same way. We have fiscal year followed by GL account numbers, so on and so forth. So if I pick one of the years, 2023, for example, then I'm seeing all my GL account numbers here. Further drilling down on which, I can see the formatted information too, followed by the fiscal period. And then we are further drilling down to see all the raw level details on this report too. Moving forward, further after this, let's go ahead and also open one of the reports here on the universal data model. Now, this is another template which is provided for all the different ERP systems, no matter whether you're on Sage 100 or Sage 300 or Sage X3. The universal data model is also provided as another set of template, which is quite great as it offers many out-of-the-box reports on the financials, sales, CRM, inventory, covering all your financial information, as well as the information coming from the other operational data as well. and any other sources that you might also have other than your ERP system, which could be a Salesforce CRM in the cloud, or any other legacy systems that you might want to connect to, and bring in that information also in SCI to report on that. Universal data model would be the place where you can bring in all the data and run that on the cubes, and even consolidate all that information to see all of that in one report. So let's have a look at one of these reports now. We'll filter on the data set that I have. Oops. Okay, let me go back here and let's try one on this side. Okay, so we'll open this report right here. We'll apply the filters on the selection page. And as a result, now this is our income statement report, which is offered from the Universal Data Model. And there are among many other reports, which as we can see in this list here, such as balance sheet, cash flow, trial balance, so on and so forth. So all the industry standard reports which we need are also delivered out of the box. And then we see in this income statement, the standard structure. We can see the sales, cost of goods sold, expenses, along with the calculations on the gross margin, net income, so on and so forth, drilling that down further into see all the different account codes under that. And further, what we also have as an advantage to these reports, if we go back in dimensions and measures again, all these different KPIs which are delivered out of the box with these reports. So if you want to bring in the variance percentage as a calculation, or year to date, rolling 12, budget versus actual mix, all of those items are already there. And so we do not have to start from the scratch creating these calculations on our own. So if I simply want to bring in my rolling 12 and rolling 12 from the last year, compare these two together, I can simply drag and drop these two fields in my columns. And as a result, I have two new added columns into my report. Now, further, what we can also do on these reports is to add more KPIs by applying the conditional formatting on these columns as well. So if I want to see if any of my rolling 12, or let's say the year-to-date numbers are negative, so I can go to the corresponding column right here, which is the year-to-date, and choose the option called conditional formatting, where I can simply define an easy rule where I'm choosing year-to-date as my dependent column, and I'm comparing that against a constant value, and also setting the condition that if it is less than 0, which means if it is negative, I would like to see it with one of the icons which I have the choice to choose from here. And then I can also pick a color and click OK. And as a result, any of the figures, any of the numbers on this report which would be negative will be shown in red. And we can set up multiple rules like this one on the same column, or even compares different columns together. For example, if I want to compare my year-to-date versus the regular report posting, that could also be possible using the conditional formatting. So this helps us highlight the crucial information that we need to see in these reports. Further, after that, what's more also really is the ability to collaborate with our team. So we have, if we go back in the toolbar on the right-hand side, we have the sharing option, which comes with many options, such as exporting these reports in a format of our choice, which could be PDF, Excel, so on and so forth. Or we could also even send a comment on these reports too, which then takes a screenshot of the exact same report and gives us a tool such as marker here, which I can use to highlight, annotate, draw circles, or even add the text to add any comments here, and readily share that with my team by providing the email and subject and write any message to them, and all the remarks that I create, which will also be added as an attachment, which will be sent out as an email. So that's another option there. We can also do a page setup and print of this report and directly send a hard copy of these and share the hard copy of these reports with our colleagues. If not, we can also use the subscription module, which is a part of the distribution part of SCI. If I go back in the administration right here, we have the scheduler option where we can create what we call as the reporting packs. Now, a reporting pack is a bunch of different reports and visualizations put together where we can see different reports all put together one after the other, including the dashboards and visualizations, which we can easily set to be sent out on a regular basis based on the time and date we set for ourselves. So if I go in the web views here, we have the choice to really filter on the reports that we want to keep in that reporting pack. So let's say if I filter on finance, I can see all my financial reports which exist within SCI. So I can highlight the one that I would like to add. If I would also like to add a dashboard, I can filter on the dashboard, and then I will see the different dashboards which are available to me. And then as a next step, we can add some aesthetic touches to that, give it a name, add a cover page as well, which also gives us the options like adding the images. So this is where you can make it more beautiful as a document by adding your company logo. You can add dynamic variables in there, and even add any specific text to make it more presentable as a document. And then further, we can add the table of contents, which will list all these different reports and show us on what page are they actually on. Then SCI also manages the users and groups by with the help of its security module. So you can really pick the users who would want to receive these reports. And with the security module, which is available here, you can also set which user has what rights to actually go and see the data. So if you want to limit a specific information from different users, such as a column on the budget or even the margin percentage on the sales side, you could easily do that and set it up for each user. And then the reports that they will receive will actually hide that information from them, which they're not supposed to see. So that's for the SCI users, the license holders. But if you are not sharing it with somebody who has access to SCI, they can still receive the static copies of these reports by email or even just sharing them on network drive with them. Finally, we can set the schedule. So if I want to send these reports to my colleagues 9 a.m. every Monday and every Wednesday of the week, we can select multiple days of the week as well if we need, and then set this, hit save. And as a result of that, we will be able to receive these reports on a regular basis in the form of reporting packs. An example of which is right here. So this is the reporting pack just as a sample one to show you, where we have a nice logo on the top, followed by the table of contents, and then a nice CFO dashboard with all the different KPIs put together, followed by the different financial statements. So cash flow, followed by the income statement, balance sheet, so on and so forth. So this is the end result of what could be received in the inboxes of all of your colleagues by simply setting it on the scheduler option as I showed here. So that's the collaboration part of SCI. And once this is done, now they either have the ability to come back when they receive these reports to come back in SCI, and then they can really slice and dice the data on them by themselves. So as an end user, they will come and see the same exact report, and they will have the ability to easily move things around. Let's say if I want to see the account codes first as an end user, I can see all the list of the account codes. Then further, if they have the ability to, if they want to further even filter on some of these specific account codes and keep it that way for themselves, they can also do that by simply selecting the account codes. For example, here we're selecting all the 40,000 ones and adding them to the filter. So these are all the different capabilities they will also have as end users, so they can really slice and dice and filter on the data and take advantage of the ease of use that SCI offers to them for analyzing this information. So now that was on all of that on the web application. But we also have another platform of SCI, which is the Excel add-in. So this platform is exactly the same solution in the backend, but here users have the ability to create and maintain their financial statements and even their operational reports within Excel. So as soon as SCI is implemented for you, you will have the add-ins button right here on the ribbon, which offers us over 25 different tools which we can use to create reports such as these. So here are some of these samples, such as financial analysis, income statement, balance sheet, some of the financial dashboards, which can be also created by using the Excel views, but which are actually pulling the data from the data source using SCI's native tools, such as data extraction, for example. So some of the tools right here, and I'll give you a quick overview how end users would use this tool in the Excel. If they are creating the new reports, for example, first of all, of course, what we need to do is to extract the list of different account codes. So for that purpose, we can go into data extraction. And as a result, the new window opens for us, and then we can really select which field we want to extract from our data. Here for me, it is the account. And then I'm also applying a filter on that, which is sales, because these account codes that I want to keep here should fall under the sales. Similarly, if I scroll further down on this report, we will notice now we have the cost of goods sold section. So if I go back in the data extraction module for this, then we will see again, I'm bringing in the accounts, and this time I'm filtering on the cost of goods sold. And that gives me all the accounts filtered on the cost of goods sold. So that's how we are extracting the account codes. And since this is a dynamic list, any of the account codes which are being pulled from your systems would also be updated. So if you're adding a new account in Sage 100 or Sage 300 or even X3, for example, these lists will show you the updated accounts every time you open them. Next thing is to do the calculations on these reports as well, which is very easy by using the formula wizard as another tool, where we again doing some selection of the tool, selection of the options that we want to use to do that calculation. So starting with the data model of our choice, and then picking the field that we want to work on. And it also offers us a list of different operations that we can do to carry out that calculation, such as sum, average, minimum, max, so on and so forth. And rest, we simply are applying the filters by mapping these cells with the formula that we are trying to create. And as a result of that, all of these calculations can be easily done without having to type all these big formulas that you see here in the formula bar. So the solution takes care of all that automation of the calculations. So as the end users, you could also use the Excel add-in, which is the second platform. And I just wanted to give you a quick overview of this platform as well. Now, moving further, what we have recently done is to actually bring in all this Excel-like functionality back in the web application itself. So if you go back here, we have the web workbook now. Now, the web workbook, as you can see at the first glance, first of all, it is embedded within the web application that we were looking at earlier. But also at the first glance, what you see very similar to Excel in terms of its layout, the rows and columns that we usually see in Excel. And if I open the home button right here on the top, you will also see something very familiar when it comes to different formatting options that are available with the web workbook. In addition to that, we can also insert different charts, different visualizations, add any Excel formulas, financial, any of the date and time, so on and so forth. And it also offers SCI's native tools, such as Formula Wizard that we just saw in Excel. So if I highlight the cell right here, it shows me the formula in the formula bar. But all of that, again, is not manually written as a formula. So if I go in the Formula Wizard, we'll be able to see what is actually happening behind the scenes. So I'm selecting the data model as finance. I'm selecting the field, operator, and then simply applying the different filters by mapping them with different cells within the spreadsheet. And that's how we're getting to these different calculations here. Now, there's some of the advanced tools as well, such as the drill down. So if I click on the drill down here, we will be able to even see what all makes up to this, the sums right here in each one of these cells. And as we move along from one cell to another, we can also see the drill down showing us the constituents of that particular figure in these cells. So that's another functionality which is also available with the web workbook. And some of the ways it actually goes beyond the normal Excel is the fact that it offers some of the advanced tools, such as setting up the buttons on these reports too. So I'm clicking on 2018 as my year, and it readily filters on the data. Similarly, you could set these buttons for each company or each department. So you could have one report set up for yourself and add a few buttons on the top, whether they are referring to a company or a department, and you could simply switch between them and see the data for that specific selection that you make on these web workbooks. Last but not the least, when it comes to using the web application, we also have the ability to embed SCI in different applications. So you could embed it in Sage 300, you could embed it in other applications. And for example, here I have my Microsoft Teams. And I have created a new tab here, which is a CFO dashboard, for example. And that is, in fact, an SCI native dashboard, which is now fully embedded with Microsoft Teams, and which is also fully dynamic and functional, which means if I want to go and pick a different fiscal period of my choice, apply that filter, and that readily shows me the data for that specific selection that I made on the top on this dashboard. So this is the native dashboard of SCI that we are also having a look at the same moment, which is fully embedded within Microsoft Teams. But it's not only limited to Teams, but you could also embed the same dashboard in PowerPoint slides or any other application that supports this kind of embeddedness. So SCI is fully embedded in those applications that way, and giving you the access to the real-time data at the same time, and not just a pretty image to look at. Then it comes to the planning for the future, and that's where SCI's financial budgeting and sales forecasting comes into play. So I have a short video for you to go through with you. And the budgeting module itself is offered with the universal data model, and how it actually works. Here we are having a look at that, where I'm providing the config ID, which is basically selecting the different fields from where which fields we would like to keep while creating the budget. And then we are making selections on the calendar year, the amount, and this is in fact an example on the creating a sales forecast, excuse me. And then we have over 5 different methods to create this forecast. So if I choose the first method, which is the last year percentage increase, this would take the numbers from the previous year and then apply that amount to give me the budget or the even forecast numbers for the upcoming year for which I'm trying to create this forecast. So here, for example, we applied a 15% increase and we click on generate button, and that as a result will load that 15% increase in the SCI worksheets. So we are simply providing the forecast name, revision number, and confirming it. As a result of which we get access to this worksheet here, which takes into account that 15% increase. And further, what's interesting about these worksheets is that they are activated with the data entry feature, which means I can click on any cell and then even manipulate the figures on the fly. So for certain product code or customer code or even account code, even after applying that 15% increase, if I want to change that amount to something else, I can click on that cell and then enter a new amount, just like that. And then that will take into account the new change into this worksheet. So that's the budgeting and forecasting ability, which are very similar together, and then gives us the ability to maintain those forecasts and budget within SCI. With that, I would like to conclude my presentation and pass it back to Olivia.
So we'll talk a little bit more specifically now in regards to what our differentiators are in comparison to some other BI solutions. First, we talked about how to use business intelligence in general overall to build plans. Of course, BI is all about enabling organizations to gain insights into their data. With SCI, though, we really aim to provide one solution that covers all reporting needs with a multitude of platforms that users can access for their data analysis and reporting. So as opposed to just having something that's web-based, which may be more interesting for, you know, the CEO or the sales team, we also have the Excel platform, which is loved by many of the financial people out there as well. It's a more comfortable environment oftentimes when we're talking Excel. It's easy to learn the solution, which again allows, you know, any kind of user to be able to access it and gain insight into the information they need to make decisions in their role. It centralizes data from multiple sources and allows for the consolidation of not only data from multiple different sources, but also, you know, multiple companies. So really, again, seeing exactly what's going on in different departments, different companies, whether you're set up on different databases. Right off the bat, SCI provides that kind of insight. It's integrated with Sage, so that's a very important one. We're seamlessly integrated with the Sage solutions, providing a really good starting point when SCI is implemented. Of course, there's always things we might want to change or, you know, create new reports, but that's all possible and again, very easy to do. We really just want to provide users with a good place to start and not have anyone reinventing the wheel. It's scalable as well. So if you're a smaller organization who might just, you know, need to give access to 1 or 2 users, or you're a really large organization who might be concerned about large volumes of data, high level of transactions, there are multiple ways that SCI can handle that and still deliver excellent performance. And it's also future proof. So Jazz mentioned, the migration, potentially moving from one solution to another. You won't lose anything that you've done within SEI as far as reporting goes. It can even stay connected to your legacy data if you do decide to move to another platform, but you're not losing any of the work you've done because SEI is an open application and can connect to any data source. You can continue to use the solution regardless of your software journey. In terms of training and skill development, because of course, as much as we want to say a BI is a plug and play, there is still a bit of a learning curve when it comes to really enabling the various teams to access and use the software to its full potential so that they really can be self-sufficient and not having to rely on others for access to information in order to make decisions. There are a multitude of different training options available. So there's e-learning that we deliver, a really in-depth online help. Of course, there's always the option of live instructor-led training, which typically your business partner would be able to facilitate. The courses that we include on our e-learning are very complete with a number of different exercises we provide to our customers as well. So all of the tools are available to help you be successful on your BI implementation journey. Now, getting into the pricing, I'm only doing this because it's often asked on these types of sessions, is this within my budget? Do I really want to explore this further? So I will just go through very quickly the way that the solution is priced. In terms of the point of entry, it is $13.35 annually USD for the application, the base component that we call the server. That includes the reports we deliver with the solution, the integration, the universal data models, and one full user of the software as well. So when we talk about a full user, we talk about somebody who might be a power user, an admin, somebody who's going in, creating reports, maybe building new data models if you want to go to that level, saving changes that are made to reports, and it delivers access to the web and the Excel interfaces. We have another type of user, which is considered a viewer user. Again, they have the flexibility of drilling into data and using some of the end user functionalities. They can still make changes, slice and dice, but they can't save any changes that are made or create any new reports. So when we talk about viewers, again, it's somebody who might be at the higher exec level who wants to access a dashboard, see what's going on, maybe do some drill down, but they don't necessarily need the ability to create anything new. Now, moving on to the components that you can add on with SEI, the distribution module or scheduler is probably the most popular add-on because it delivers a lot of value in terms of automating the information sharing process. So again, like Jazz went through, the ability to schedule reports to be sent to anyone inside or outside of the organization. There are other options that we deliver with that distribution module. Another important one is the consolidation. So if you are a multi-database, multi-company type setup, in order to have that consolidated environment, you do need the consolidation module. I won't go through the others. They're a little bit more specific, but again, honing in on kind of the point of entry and how you can really get started. It's about $1,300 US per year. And I do want to mention that the users are concurrent, so they're not named users with SEI. You have a couple of different options when it comes to the implementation as well. So of course, the installation on a server, if you're on premise, is absolutely an option. Installation on a private cloud, if you're hosted, your ERP is hosted in a private cloud, that can be an option as well. We also deliver the SEI cloud, which essentially allows you to have automated upgrades that are included. The software is always kept up to date. It is an additional annual fee, but there is a lot of value in terms of always having the software on the very latest version. Some of our resources, again, I mentioned the online help, there's our website. Your business partner is always a good resource as well. Many business partners in North America represent Sage Enterprise Intelligence Solution as their BI. So please don't hesitate to reach out to them. I think we had another polling question.
Yes, we do. Perfect.
Yeah.
So I will go ahead and launch it now. If everyone can go ahead and answer this. Are you interested in a Sage Enterprise Intelligence demo? Yes, in the next month. Yes, in the next 1 to 3 months. Maybe, but need more information first, or not at this time. So if you can just take a few seconds and answer this would be super helpful. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and close this one out. Thanks to everybody who participated.
Perfect. So I think on that note, we can go ahead and open up the floor for some questions if there are any.
All right. Yeah, so there is one question, and it says, how does this product differ from Sage Intelligence Reporting?
It's a good question. There are a multitude of different ways that it differentiates, starting with the fact that we deliver a web-based application in addition to Excel. So if you're looking for something that's more web-based, I like to say, salespeople who want to run reports aren't always as comfortable or experts within an Excel framework. So having that web option is really, more flexible, and it is intuitive. The other ways that we differentiate the reports that we deliver, it's not just financials, it's across the board. I know you might have some other ways to report, again, in Sage Intelligence on other areas, but we're available for other add-on modules. On the 300 side, we have like a service manager integration, an auto simply integration. So there's a lot there that goes outside the realm of financials. There's also the data management aspect and the ability to easily pull different data sources together if that's a need for you. We have budgeting and forecasting capabilities as well inherent within the application that you can use to report against your actuals, and the list goes on. So I will leave it at that. Quite a few differences. If you're looking for more advanced analytics and web-based reporting, that's when I would say you would gravitate towards Sage Enterprise Intelligence. We have a conversion tool, by the way, which I should shout out for Sage Intelligence customers who do want to move to SEI. Sage Enterprise Intelligence provides a solution to convert all of your reports over very easily and seamlessly.
All right, thank you. And then there's another question that came in about trying to integrate SharePoint lists. They use Oath, O-A-U-T-H. Is there a timeline for when that might be enabled with SEI?
As far as I know, it is already enabled.
Okay.
Yes, I'll confirm that it's already enabled, yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for that. And then looks like that is all the questions that we have.
Great. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for your participation. We hope that you got value out of today's session, and hoping to speak with some of you soon in regards to how we can help improve your data analysis and reporting processes. Thank you to Ali as well.
All right. Thank you guys so much for walking us through the presentation and demonstration. And to everyone else, thanks so much for joining, and have a great rest of your day.